Hey everyone, welcome to Retro Geek Gaming. We like to talk about stuff that's retro, geek, and gaming related. Hopefully you like this stuff and you'll join us for future videos down the line. So, pushing everything out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into today's video. That is my top picks for Nintendo franchises that deserve at least one more try. One more game, a sequel, a reboot, something. Now, before we get into the list, just a couple of little asterisks to go over. We need to keep in mind that this list is including games that I have personally played. Now, that doesn't mean, obviously, that this list is then, the all-encompassing, is every single dormant Nintendo franchise needs to come back. Because there are some that I haven't played that I can't really comment on. So I don't want to throw that out there and say, yes, bring back this series, when I never really even played it, and so I can't say for sure if it's something that I'd even like. So, that means this is obviously not a full list, so because of that, there would be other games for other franchises that might still be good and might still get a sequel or even a reboot. So, make sure, if there's any that I missed, that you put it down in the comments down below, especially if you played the game and you liked it and you would like to see it come back. An example of this is Chibi Robo. I wanted to put Chibi Robo on this list, but then I thought, I never really played Chibi Robo. I hear how great it is, but I never really got the chance to play it. So I can't say for sure, how it is. It looks like it's a good game and it should come back, but I just haven't personally played it, so I don't want to judge it like that. Does that make sense? And also to keep that this is also in no particular order. These are dormant series from Nintendo that should get another shot in some form, and no particular order. So the last game does not necessarily mean that it's the biggest pick that I want to do. Does that make sense? And of course, put your thoughts in the comments down below. And at any time, you can feel free to press the like button or click on the subscribe option for more content from this channel. I try to upload a video at least once a week. It really does depend upon the news, but I might start doing more things like this, discussion videos and topics like that, just to keep the channel engaged, and then talk about news when it hits. But let's go ahead and get started with this list. Number 1 is Eternal Darkness, which you can of course see here on the screen being played currently. Eternal Darkness is technically a third-party game that was made by Silicon Knights, but Nintendo was the publisher, and they currently, as far as I know, still own the rights to the game. And even though Silicon Knights has gone bankrupt, Nintendo, as long as they still own the trademark, they can probably publish the game. So I would like to see Nintendo eventually try to either redo this unique horror game, reboot it, do a sequel to it, or something. Number 2 on this list, as you can see, of course, is Kid Icarus. Now, the return of Pit came as a pleasant surprise on the 3DS back in the day, and it seemed like it was going to be one of those type of games that Nintendo was going to put some attention towards. I mean, they made a big deal about it. They were using amiibo cards with it, and they had Sakurai behind it and all that stuff like that. So it seemed like it was one of those kind of things that they were going to focus a lot of effort on. And the recent rumors that there's a possible Switch port of Uprising makes me think that they're going to try again to bring this back. And personally, I think it'd be nice to even see a sequel come out of this with an improved online multiplayer, because I did love the single player campaign of Kid Icarus Uprising. But the multiplayer was something to be desired. I mean, it felt kind of cheap and it just didn't work that great in my opinion. So I would love to see it come back with improved Switch controls. And also, like I said, improved online multiplayer. But what do you guys think about that? Now the next one is The Adventures of Lolo. Now this is a weird pick for me. or it's a weird pick, I know, because it's such an old game and it hasn't shown any attention. So this one I have to admit is a bit of an odd entry because just how old it is. There were 3 games back for it on the NES, but I have to say that it was an enjoyable and challenging game with its puzzle rooms and figuring that out. So it was just one of those type of games that I really enjoyed. Like even when it came to the Nintendo Switch Online, I played this game again. You know, and I played every single room for the first time. Unlike when I was a kid, when I used passwords to sort of skip. But it was still a fun and enjoyable little puzzle game to figure out. And I think that this could be modernized and maybe even allow us to make our own like puzzles on. You know, like our own little puzzle rooms for other people to solve online, or maybe even do online multiplayer puzzles. I just think it'd be a really unique game, especially if they, you know, do a lot of Nintendo stuff with it. This game was made back by HAL Laboratories back in the day, so as far as I know, it's still owned by Nintendo, but I could be wrong about that. And I would just like to see this come back. That's just a personal pick. Alright, and jumping straight into number 4, as you can see on the screen, it's obviously going to be Donkey Kong. Now, this is also another weird one, to go without saying, because, you know, it's been a while since the last new DK game came out. That was back on the Wii U, and so technically, even though we just got one on the Switch, it's just a port of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which makes me really want to long for a new DK. Now, whether this is in the same style as Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong Country Returns or even Tropical Freeze, that is fine. If they want to make it a 3D, like sort of like how Donkey Kong 64 was, I'm perfectly okay with that too. I would just like to see a return to form for Donkey Kong, but again, that's just me and my preference. And the very last pick that I have is this game right here, Sin and Punishment. You're watching the Star Successor sequel that came out on the Wii. But here's a series that seemed like Nintendo was going to get some footing with, especially since they released Star Successor on the Wii, and we didn't really get the original Sin and Punishment game on the Nintendo 64 outside of Japan. Of course, now it's on the NSO app with the N64, but outside of just getting a Japanese copy or playing it that way, you really don't have the option to, you know, really play this game. And Sin and Punishment Star Successor was a really good game. It's been there. It hasn't been any traction for the franchise since then, and it's a fun on-rail shooter similar to Kid Icarus Uprising. So I don't know if you really want to count it as the same thing, because I did have Kid Icarus Rising up here also. But the difference between these two games is that Sin and Punishment is completely on rails, whereas Kid Icarus had on rail portions for the air part, but then you go on land and it would be completely capable of being controlled, and you walk around freely. So that's the main difference. And if they want to throw that in for Sin and Punishment, I really wouldn't mind it, being able to explore. But this was a game that I had a lot of fun 100%ing, playing both stories, and then playing, I think there was a third story that you got when you played with both characters. And it's just a fun on-rail shooter. It doesn't seem right to not be a part of the current library on the Switch, especially considering how much like the Wii Remote the Joy-Cons can be. So just simple movement and aiming with any one, really, with either one of the Joy-Cons, wouldn't be able to play this game easy. And yeah, as far as I know, Treasure is still part of Nintendo, so please work on this game. And yeah, that's basically my list, guys. It's really short, really sweet. I didn't want to go and drag out 10, 20 something games that I feel like Nintendo should make, because otherwise we'll be here all day naming games like Geist that, you know, really probably should get another game, but I don't even know if it's owned by Nintendo. And I just wanted to keep the list short to what I knew Nintendo either had the rights to make or probably can get the rights to make it. And I didn't throw games on there, of course, like Jet Force Gemini, because as much as, you know, I think that game would do really good with a reboot, I'm going to continue to hold on to that for a long time. it's technically owned by Microsoft because it's made by Rare, so I can't put it on this list, but maybe it'll go on a future list because I am thinking about doing the exact same thing for PlayStation and Xbox also. There's, find games that basically they're not making anymore, or they came to this console and they're not there anymore, what happened to them, and do future top picks for them. And that's pretty much going to be it for this video. So what do you guys think about my picks? Is there any that you prefer? Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure you put them down in the comments down below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And again, I apologize for the lack of content. Right now it seems like there's slow news stuff, and then of course just work and life is taking me away. So I'm doing the best I can to bring you all new content at least once a week. So I hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you next time. Let's go retro.